Hello everyone and welcome to the NinjaTrader Ecosystem webinar room. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to test for picture and sound. So if you can hear my voice and see the projection in the room, please type a Y. Perfect. Thank you everyone. It looks like I'm coming in loud and clear. My name is Juanita Archuleta and I work on the NinjaTrader Business Development team here in our Denver office. We have a very special event for you today with Ken and Cheryl of Masterline Traders. At this time, I am going to place a poll into the room, and the question is, are you currently using NinjaTrader? While you fill that out, I would like to mention it is important that there are substantial risks, I would like to mention that it is important to understand that there are substantial risks in trading commodity futures contracts. You should carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you and will depend on your specific circumstance and financial resources. It is possible to lose all funds deposited with your broker and could even incur losses beyond these amounts. Please inquire at the link that I am going to throw in the room. This is our risk disclosure link for more information or for a full copy of the CFTC risk disclosure. Also, please remember that these training webinars are not a solicitation nor a recommendation, but simply educational in nature. This presentation is presented by NinjaTrader LLC, which is the technology company responsible for developing and supporting the NinjaTrader trading software. Brokerage-related questions should be directed to NinjaTrader Brokerage directly at 312-262-1289 or by emailing brokerage-sales@ninjatrader.com. I'll go ahead and include the phone number as well as the email address that you can contact if you do have any additional questions regarding today's CFTC risk disclosure. So the next item here is, I apologize, for some reason it looks like my poll closed, so I wasn't able to read you those results. But for those of you who have not yet got started with NinjaTrader, NinjaTrader is free for advanced charting, market analytics, automated strategy development, connecting to a live data provider, and simulated trading. We only charge for our product if and when you do decide to trade live from any of our supported brokerages. If you have not done so, I would go ahead and recommend that you download NinjaTrader for free from the following link. And if you are interested in purchasing NinjaTrader, you have already begun using NinjaTrader and you have interest in purchasing it, please use the following link. Today, Ken and Cheryl will demonstrate the benefits offered by using the Masterline Traders Strategy Tool. Thank you again for your attendance, and without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room Ken and Cheryl of Masterline Traders. Go ahead and take it away, Ken and Cheryl.
Thank you, Juanita. And hi, folks. Cheryl and I are delighted to be with you today to share the power of what we consider to be the power of the master lines. As we get started, I'd like to direct your attention to our disclosure. This is also on our website under the Services tab at www.masterlinetraders.com. Today we're going to be demonstrating our strategy tool, and therefore I want to make sure you understand part of what's included in this disclosure as you are reading it, and that is that past performance, whether actual or indicated by historical tests or strategies, is no guarantee of future performance with regard to this strategy tool. So there is risk associated with trading, and you and only you can determine if this activity is appropriate for you. Again, this entire disclosure is on our website, and I would encourage you to go to www.masterlinetraders.com. You can go to the Services tab and you can review it at your leisure. Let me spend just a moment and highlight the topics that we're going to discuss with you today. We're going to start off running our strategy tool, which is an auto trader, and we're going to do it in replay mode using what we can call our gold combo strategy arrow. I need to tell you that when we say gold combo, sometimes folks are confused and they think we're talking about the instrument gold. We are not. This strategy can be run on any instrument that we have programmed in the master lines. The reason we call it the gold combo strategy, as you'll see in a moment, is because it presents itself with a gold arrow. When we finish running the strategy tool, We're going to have a look at the master lines and spend just a few moments talking about how we develop strategies. Then we're going to look at some actual performance that we have collected in the live market on this strategy tool running on a sim account with this gold combo arrow for the past 3 months. And I'll tell you why it's the past 3 months when we get to that point. And then we're going to talk about developing and identifying optimal trading times in current market environment, running the tool on market replay. Following that, we'll talk a little bit about another strategy that we have called V-Scalp and how we use V-Scalp along with what we call the handshake. We'll come to the end and give you a promotional offer should you choose to join us on this journey, and then we'll allow some time for questions and answers. So with that, let me move right into this strategy tool. And you should see my screen now where I brought up a dome as well as a Masterline chart. And as I told you, you can see that the arrows present themselves as gold arrows on this chart. The strategy tool really contains a couple functions, major functions. There are the technical requirements, and then there's the money management requirements. The technical requirements you see indicated here by gold arrows. So every time that this strategy has met its minimum threshold of technical requirements, it's going to populate on this chart with a gold arrow. Now when you join the master lines, we provide you with these chart templates. However, this strategy tool is not what I consider a black box. It's more a gray box. And what I mean by that is, although we provide you with these templates and you can use them just as we provide them because this is exactly the way I trade, you also have the ability to modify them, to tweak the settings, to tweak the technical indicators should you desire to do that based upon your own level of risk tolerance, because every trader, in my opinion, has his or her own trading DNA. And then that data is captured and transferred to our strategy tool. And on the strategy tool, if we look at that for a moment, I want to show you the settings. We incorporate what we call a CL Gold Combo CSV file, which we have gotten from these gold arrows that populate. That gives us a technical requirement. Now we have to determine what waves and what bars within those waves we want to trade. And in this particular case, we're only going to trade wave 1, what we call wave 1, bars 1 and 2, and I'll show you what those are as we start running these tests. Then we come down to the order input section, and we're only going to have the strategy tool take a trade when the master bar closes. We're not going to have it take a trade if the minimum thresholds are met intrabar. We want this arrow to populate and be there for good. We also have the ability to set our targets and stops manually or with an ATM strategy. In this particular strategy, we're going to set them manually. We're going to set a target profit of 4 ticks and a stop of 8 ticks. We're also going to set a limit order of -2, which means the price has got to back up 2 ticks in order to fill us. And if that doesn't occur by the time the following bar closes, following the arrow, then the strategy tool will cancel the pending order. Because I do want to show you another strategy, and I'll tell you why when we get there. I'm going to only trade this for a short period of time. I'm just going to do it over a 2-hour period from 9 a.m. Eastern Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Time. This strategy tool runs based upon your own local computer clock. And I'm on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast of Florida in the United States, so I'm on Eastern Time. So I'm going to run this from 9 until 11. And then because we're on replay, we're just going to, it'll automatically get dumped into a replay account. And of course, we've enabled this strategy. So I'm going to run this very rapidly because I want to take advantage of the time that we have. And I've run this at single speed, 5 times speed, 10 times speed, 100 times speed, all the way up to 500 times speed, and you really don't see much difference in the performance in the replay analysis. So running at a 500 times speed can give you quick results in a short period of time. So here our first trade was taken on this second bar of this first wave, and the wave is identified by when we get a color change on this solid line. And now we've taken two more trades, and we'll talk about these in a moment because we're almost finished with this test because we're running at such a fast clip. And here's another trade that was taken, and we're now approaching 11 o'clock. So when we get to 11 o'clock, I'll just stop this because it's not going to take any more trades. And there it is, because I told it only to trade between the hours of 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. And I told it to take wave 1 bars 1 or 2, and a wave 1, and this is our definition of waves, and our definition we've developed to allow us to communicate with each other and also communicate with our strategy tool. It has nothing to do with any wave structure you've heard about in other technologies. So it took a trade here. There was an arrow that printed on wave 1 bar 2. It put in a limit order of -2. The price backed up. It filled that, and then it came down and gave us our 4 ticks. There was nothing in this long wave, and then in this short wave, we got a setup on wave 1 bar 1. It backed up and took that trade. It was out of that trade before bar 2 closed, and so it put in a limit order at the close of bar 2, and that got filled and got our 4 ticks. And then over on this next wave, which is the long wave, we got a setup on bar 2. It took that trade and got its 4 ticks. There was also a setup on bar 3 that would have been successful, but we told it not to trade on bar 3. We told it only to trade on bar 1, wave 1, bar 1, or bar 2. So in this particular test, again running on replay, we had 4 trades and we had a win rate of 100%. Now I'm here to tell you that you will not achieve a win rate of 100% of the time. I believe strongly that these markets are manipulated, and that the market makers, the institutional traders who have the volume to manipulate these markets, have their own algorithms that they run that are different from ours, and therefore that's a fundamental event to us. So we can have a technical indicator that says the price is going to go in one direction, and all of a sudden it goes in the opposite direction. So you must understand, and if you've been doing this for a while, you do, that losing is a part of winning in this business. You have to be willing to take losing trades in order to end up being a winner, because you will have losing trades. You'll even may have losing days. You should not have losing weeks and losing months if you're performing properly. So I'm going to close this workspace, and then I'm going to bring up another one. Please describe what your master bar is based on. Sure. Let me get this started because this is going to take a little bit of time here. Give me a moment to close this workspace because this works a lot better if I change the time here before I bring up the next workspace. And give me a moment just to do that, and then I'll be delighted to answer your question. And now let me start the next workspace to populate, and I will answer your question. Okay, this will come up in just a moment or two. The master bars are proprietary price-based bars, and they're tied into Fibonacci numbers. They are not time-based bars, they're price-based bars. And therefore, we trade off of a 34 master bar chart. This is a 34 master bar chart. There's no such thing as a 30, 31, 32, 33, 35, 40 master bar. The next lower master bar is a 21. The next higher master bar is a 55. So if you're familiar with Fibonacci sequences, you can determine what number to set to give you the next master bar. We've got the data coded such that if you type in the wrong number, it's going to take you to the closest master bar based upon whatever that Fibonacci number is. So in other words, 34 is a price-based, proprietary developed master bar. 21 would be the next lower master bar, and 55 would be the next higher master bar. You might consider this more akin to bars like range bars and Renko bars and that sort of thing, which are price-based bars, rather than a 1-minute chart, a 30-second chart, which are time-based charts. Okay? So now I want to run another, will this work with Forex? Well, it will not work with Forex, but you can trade futures pairs. In other words, you can trade the currency pairs, and I'll show you what currency pairs you can trade when we get into the back into the slides. Great question. Thanks for asking. So now I want to share with you another strategy, and the reason I want to share this other strategy with you is from time to time people ask me a couple questions. They say, number one, you know, my risk tolerance is greater and I would like to stay in the market longer. Do you have strategies that would allow me to do that? And the answer is yes. The other question I get from time to time is, what would happen if you would run this strategy tool over an entire day, from the start after settlement until the close of the next day at settlement? So that's really what I'm going to do here. This we call a buy-sell cross trade, and when you're running in replay, you've got to rebuild your strategies. In the live market, you don't. You can save them, but in replay, as soon as you close the workspace, you have to rebuild the strategy, and that's okay because I want to share with you what we're going to do here, because you're going to see that this strategy is going to run differently than the previous strategy that I ran, which was the gold combo strategy. So in this case, you'll notice I'm going to run this on wave 1, bars 1, 2, 3, or 4, as well as on what we call wave 3, bars 1, 2, or 3. I'm also going to use a bar close entry. I want the price to close on the master bar before we enter. And in this case, because I want to use a stop strategy, and in order to use a stop strategy, I need to create an ATM template. And so therefore, I've created one, and I'm going to trade this in replay with one contract. I'm going to put in a 20-tick target. I'm going to put in a 20-tick stop, and then when I'm up 10 ticks into profit, I'm going to move the stop to break even plus 1. So with this strategy tool, the way it's coded, you have the ability to either put in your targets and profits manually, as we did on the previous test, or you can put them in by defining and building an ATM strategy based upon your own trading DNA. How would you like to run a stop strategy? There's 100 ways to run a stop strategy with any given target or stop, overall target and stop. And how would you want to do that? Well, I've created one here, which is a pretty simple one, and that is we're going to put in a 20-tick target, a 20-tick stop, and when we're up 10 ticks, we're going to go to break even plus 1. We're also going to use a limit order, but in this case, we're going to use a limit order of 0. If I leave this set to false, it's going to enter a market order, so it's going to guarantee the fill, but it won't guarantee the price. I don't want that. I'd rather miss the trade and guarantee the price. So I'm going to, in this case, I'm not concerned about, I don't want to miss this trade. I'm not concerned about the price backing up 2 ticks. I want to get in at exactly the price that's triggered on this chart when this bar closes, as long as it's within one of these 7 bars that I have defined. So I don't need to come down here and define manually my profit target or my stop. All I need to do is enable this strategy. Let me give it one more look through because I've been talking here and I want to make sure I've done it correctly. And incidentally, if I don't set this up correctly, I'm not going to be able to enable it because we built some safeguards into the strategy tool that will keep it from becoming enabled. And one of the ways you can check that is after you enable it, you can come up to the top, and if you see an MLT up there, you're all set, it's enabled. If you see an MLT that's got a D in parentheses in front of it, then it's not been enabled, and you better go back and check and see what's happened because you've done something incorrectly. Well, we started off here right after, here's the settlement line. This entry came in on wave 1, bar 2, and so it took it, and it actually It was moving so fast I can't tell you what it did. Oh, it actually locked up at break even plus 1 when it got up to 10 ticks, and then it actually came back and it actually stopped us out with 1 tick. Now, as I say, there's many different ways to run any kind of a strategy with an ATM template, and I can't tell you that you have the trading DNA to do what I did here. Maybe you want to, maybe you're more conservative. Maybe when you're up 10 ticks, you want to lock up a break even plus 9, because in this case, I lost 9 ticks by locking up a break even plus 1. But on the other hand, if you lock up a break even plus 9 and it pulls back because of the volatility in crude oil and takes you out, it might then go back, it might go up to 20 ticks. So there's no right or wrong. The right or wrong is, the right is what's right for you as an individual trader. So we'll continue along here. Incidentally, you see another line on here, and this is called the buy-sell line. And essentially what we're doing in this case is when an arrow presents itself above this line, it wants to buy, and when an arrow presents itself below the line, it wants to sell. So you can see if we ran a different target, we could have taken advantage of more of this run, and we could have gotten maybe 30 or 40 ticks. And of course, that's all Monday morning quarterbacking, because you never know until after the fact exactly what's going to happen. So now we've taken our second trade, and it did go up 20 ticks, and so now we're up 21 ticks. And again, this is just going to run unassisted all night long on this particular day in July. And what you're going to see in general, and nothing works 100% of the time, but what you're going to see in general is that if we come down and we actually retrace back to this line or below this line, and then we come back up, in general, that gives us a little better setup. If, on the other hand, we don't pull all the way back to that line, and then with a reversal or retracement, and then we go back up from there, and we put in a trade, its success rate is likely not going to be as high. Now again, nothing works 100% of the time because these markets are manipulated. And the other thing I should tell you in this strategy tool is you have the opportunity to have this tool stop once you reach a certain level of profit or you reach a certain stop level. So in other words, if you said, I want to stop once I'm up 40 ticks, or I want to stop once I'm down 40 ticks per contract, it will do that for you. And again, these strategies will run on any instrument that we have coded for the master lines. The important thing is that you need to understand the personality of the instrument. And I can see that I made a mistake here when I set this up, because it looks like I've set up a strategy and put in a target of 10 ticks instead of 20 ticks. Now that's okay. We'll just let it continue to run. I've run this and I know what it does, and I'll tell you afterwards what it does. So I fat-fingered a number in here somewhere, and here we are. Incidentally, we've gotten to the end of the day. Here's the next settlement line, and it's up 52 ticks. I can tell you that if I hadn't made that fat finger and I would have put in the correct ATM template, it would have been up 72 ticks, because I know that's the advantage of running things in replay. You can see you have the advantage of looking forward. You can't do that in the live market, however, and I'll show you some data from the live market. to show you what our strategy tool is capable of doing. But anyhow, you can run this on any instrument that you want to run it on that we have programmed for the Masterlines. And I can virtually program any instrument that we can get tick-by-tick data for through the data source. The ones we've coded 18 different instruments, I believe it is, and they're based largely on our members' interests. But you know, I could code up soybean oil, I could code lean hogs. So the master lines are not limited just to they're only limited to the instruments that we have shown right now, only because that's all I've set them up for. I've got the ability to set them up for anything as long as we've got enough interest to do that. So I want to go back to the I think you should provide definitions of all your code words. Without that, what are you saying has no meaning? I'm not sure what that means. I'm sorry. If you could give me better definition. I'm not trying to use any code words. Let me go back and continue here. These are the same 7 master lines that you saw when we were running the strategy tool. And I just want to very briefly here, so we don't run out of time, tell you that these top 2 lines we call the money lines. The reason we call them the money lines is because they follow the money, hence they follow the price. The next line down, the solid line, we call the trend line. The next line down we call the scalp line, and then the third panel we call this the Masterline Plus. These indicators are very unique to the extent that they can have a color change without getting a companion angular change. In other words, here you see right below where this red dot is, you can see this trend line is still green, but yet its slope would be negative. And that's very important in the way that we program these 3 lines. Unimportant for you to understand why we did it that way, but it's just important to note that when you call out the scalp line, the trend line, the scalp line, the Masterline Plus, you need to call out both the line color as well as the slope. These top 2 lines, the money lines, when they drop below the east-west line, they're going to turn red with a red slope, and when they go above, they're going to turn green with a green slope. All 5 of these lines are based upon a 34 master bar algorithm. The bottom 2 lines are the short-term master trend line and the long-term master trend line. They're looking at longer price bar relationships than the trend line, which is based upon a 34 master bar algorithm. So therefore, the short-term master trend line is looking at a longer, larger price bar relationship than the trend line, and the long-term master trend line is looking at something bigger than the short-term master trend line. So essentially you've got 3 views of the market on this one chart. I told you that I would show you some performance, and what we did is this tool on this gold combo ran from the 1st of May through the end of July for 3 months. We ran it from 7 a.m. Eastern Time until 14:30 Eastern Time when the energy pits closed. It ran that way Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. On Wednesday, it started at 7 and stopped at 10:15, and then started back up at 10:40 and stopped at 14:30. And the reason for that is that we have a crude oil inventory report, which is fundamental to us, and we're technical traders, so we don't want to be trading during a fundamental event. So running it under those conditions, again, on a sim account, set up with the same conditions that I showed you in that first strategy tool test, a 4-tick target, 6-tick stop. The important numbers to look at are right down here, and that is that over a 3-month period, we achieved a win rate of 75% plus. Now, the only way to determine whether or not that's significant is to think about what the break-even win rate is, and the break-even win rate with a 4-tick target and a 6-tick stop is 60%. However, you've got to add in commissions because trading is not free. So if you use an average of $5, and that's an extremely conservative number, you shouldn't be paying $5 in commission. And as a matter of fact, if you trade through NinjaTrader as an introducing broker, you will see that you can trade for far less than $5 a contract. So $5 is a high number, but I'm going to use that anyhow, and that relates to to 5% based upon a 4-tick stop, 4-tick target and a 6-tick stop. So we've got to take 5% off of that number. So therefore, our overall break even with commission would be 65%. So over the 3-month period running on a sim account in the live market, where we did not have foresight of being able to see into the future, or at least I don't, and I don't know anybody that really does. Maybe there are some, but I don't know them. You can see that we achieved over 10 percentage points of profit. Now, you're going to say, well, why don't you show us performance prior to the 1st of May? The reason I can't do that is because these markets change. These markets are manipulated. And I believe it's extremely important for us as a provider to you, the client, to change our strategies, either in terms of tweaking the technical requirement or the money management requirement when we get to a point where it no longer starts to work well. And that's what I did. The 1st of May, I went in and I tweaked the settings, and so that's why I can only show you data over this 3-month period, because showing you anything else would be comparing apples and oranges. In seriousness, where are the individual codes listed which are used to join platform to process the strategy? I need to learn the computer language. Well, the codes are proprietary. We're not going to disclose the codes to you. What we will provide to you is and I'll show you that in a slide here in a few minutes, is everything you need to be able to set this up on your computer so that you can test it yourself. Let me move along here, and at this point I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl, and Cheryl's going to take you through the next couple of slides. Cheryl, are you ready?
Okay, guys. Yeah. Let me just say hello. And for those of you who don't know, I'm Miss Scalpy. Ken and I are the alpha and the omega of trading. Ken loves his algorithms here, the master bars. I've been sharing my V-scalp approach to trading for many years. So if you're brand new to the market, or if you've been trading for a while and you just can't understand why things aren't working out, often what needs to happen is that you need to come back to the basics. And one of the most important things that you need to focus on, that a lot of traders miss because they're so busy looking for the perfect entry signal, they forget to look at money management. And that is one of the reasons we love this strategy tool, because yes, it's an easy way to help you look at money management. Now here's a slide demonstrating that. We ran 10 ticks. We set up the strategy tool on gold. We set it up to use the bar close level 2, so the price would have to meet certain criteria and then fall back 2 ticks and fill, and then we had a 10-tick profit target and an 8-tick stop loss. The tool was run from 7 a.m. through 11, and it only had 1 loss, so that was a pretty good return. And this was on sim in the live market. Well, what would happen if we changed the 10-tick stop loss from 8? What would happen if we changed the time in the market? Well, all I can tell you is you don't know that unless you go back and test, and this is where the power of the tool comes in. You can go back and replay this data over a matter of minutes and tweak these settings and see what the most optimal performance is in the market at that time. Now, I'm going to tell you that I have a fundamental belief. I've shared this with people in my training rooms over the years. If life has called you to learn to trade futures, it has also called you to the task of learning the importance of cultivating a practice of conscious awareness. A lot of us don't know what we do on automatic pilot. So I come into the room once a week. For the most part, I'm your technical support person. When you decide to sign on with Masterline Traders, I'll log on remotely, 90 miles an hour. My little Microsoft certified fingers will fly over your machine, set up the indicator, show you how to set up strategies, run the tool. And then in the room, I'm going to invite you to look for a handshake between let me get the little arrow here, my basic V-scalp chart and the master bar chart. But what I've been doing in the last several months is inviting you to go back to what I call a trigger chart. And this trigger chart is going to force you to look at momentum, which we find very powerful, the attractor factor of yesterday's settlement, the 200, yesterday's high, your market pivots, and look at when you get a 1320 cross and you have the 50 moving average agreeing with the direction. That's a very simple, basic trading strategy. A lot of you are saying, oh, you know, I'm doing something much more dramatic than that. But if you can do this, and if you can cultivate the patience to identify this entry and see that you're getting a handshake from these other entry charts, your trading is going to change dramatically. We are retail traders, guys. We're not professional Wall Street traders. We're putting our personal money at risk, and so we likely have much less capital to use to mitigate risk. And that really makes our challenge more significant. We're not sitting inside the exchange. Our computer hardware and our internet service is not necessarily optimal. And so any tool that we can employ that gives us a little bit of an advantage is significant. And Ken has just shown you, he's just demonstrated that the ratio of profit to loss is critical over the long term. So using the tool is an easy, quick way to demonstrate the best recipe for your trading strategy. And we have many. We have you'll see right here on this chart, we have Ken's gold arrow, but we also have my blue arrow. I'm a scalper. I only want 2 or 3 ticks. So I wait until that strategy gives me a buildup of momentum that says if I jump in, I'm sure to grab 2 ticks and be able to get out with a successful trade. Traders need to keep tools to help keep their finger on the pulse of what is and is not working. You all know we're probably in what I would call the summer doldrums right now. All of a sudden, we've got all of this chop in the market. We're seeing unusual things because of the fundamentals, not just the technical aspects of our trading. So as educators, I want you to know that Ken and I endorse any time spent learning to trade because we see this as a practice that has the potential to create resilience for you in every area of your day-to-day life, not just your trading. If you really come at this with enthusiasm and you put the work in, the time in the saddle, you're going to see benefits in more than just your trading. So the V-Scalp helps me to demonstrate the power of a simple 2-tick scalping entry strategy, and it compares it next to this very complex algorithm plotting a master bar strategy arrow, and the handshake is the result of joining the alpha and the omega trading approaches. But what we want to see happen, we want each of you to figure out who you are as traders. So if any of you are interested in looking at what we're doing, take us up on the offer to spend a free week in the chart room, and we're happy to give you a one-on-one session to talk about how to use our indicators. And with that, I'll let Ken come back and review the last few slides with you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Let me move right along here. What we offer is a chart, what we call a chart room. It's open to subscribers Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. Eastern Time until 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And I moderate that room every morning from 8 a.m. until 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. As Cheryl told you, she normally comes in once a week and makes a presentation on her V-Scalp strategy as well as other things that are very pertinent to traders. We offer 4 different packages. We have a currency package, an energy package, an equity package, and a fixed income package. I told you we had this program for 18 different instruments, and there they are. I'm not going to go through each one of them, but you can see that if you lease the currency package, these are the instruments that come in that package, and so forth and so on. This information also is on our website on the services page. In addition, there are V-scalp indicators, which Cheryl has just talked to you about, and all of this comes in the package that we're talking about today. Essentially, that's that you get everything. So what does everything cost? Well, this particular slide may be a little bit busy, but you can go to our services page at www.masterlinetraders.com. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a little arrow, and that arrow says that if you click on that arrow, you can see the current promo, and it will show you this same slide. So what we're offering you today, and this offer is going to stay on the table until the end of the month, after which time we'll pull the subscription button. The standard cost for the chart room and one group, a currency group, equity group, energy group, etc., fixed income group, is $225. That gives you access to the chart room. That gives you all of the technology that we have developed. You're not missing anything. You get access to our FTP site so that you can go in and download all of the templates that we've created at your leisure, as well as the code that you can put on your machine. So we're going to discount that from $225 to $125 a month. That's on a month-to-month basis. Once you sign up for a month, if you signed up on today on the 24th, it would automatically renew on the 24th of the next month unless you actually cancel it. It's a month-to-month subscription. Once you subscribe for a month, you're in for that month. There's no refund for a partial month. We don't have a facility under which to do that. So you get everything that you need for $125 with one package, which also gives you access to the chart room. And as Cheryl told you, she'll come on your machine. She'll give you a white gloves approach. If you're interested then in scalping, then you need to do a one-on-one session with her. If you're interested in the way I trade, then you want to do a one-on-one session with me. All of our one-on-one sessions are recorded. They're audio-video sessions, and then you have that audio-video file for yours to keep for posterity and review at your leisure. If you'd like to contact us, here's our corporate phone number, 941-877-1888. You can also reach me, Ken at MasterlineTraders.com. You can reach Cheryl at MasterlineTraders.com. Or if you have a general question, info at MasterlineTraders.com will come to both of us. There's been a lot of questions today, and we had to push through this in order to get done at a reasonable time. I'm sure we overlooked some questions. I'd be happy to answer anything that you want to know, as long as it has something to do with the master lines or trading. You can call us, and I'll call you back. You can email me, and I'll respond to you. And Cheryl will do the same thing. So let me see if there are any other questions, and then we'll turn it back to Juanita.
Guys, be sure if you're interested to go through the website. We have lots of good information there. Actually, if you're interested, we have a funny little video in the members area called Cheryl versus the Tool. It's very informative. It shows you the different ways you can approach trading. It shows me doing my little scalping entries, and then we run the tool in the same time frame. If you want to get technical and you want to understand how we set up the parameters, the properties of these different indicator arrows, the information's there. You're not going to want to wade through it. So we invite you to contact us and schedule a one-on-one session. We'll make it a little bit easier for you. But for sure, take a peek at the information on the website and let us know if you have questions.
Let me just, thanks Cheryl. Just let me respond to these last three questions here, and then we'll turn it back to Anita. You send real-time signals. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but when you're running this strategy tool or you're running our charts in the live market, you're getting real-time signals. It's not replay stuff. These arrows will populate in real time. And if you want to see that, then just simply simply click on request a free trial on our website and you get a free week in our chart room, and you can see actually how this stuff works in live mode. Is there any trial period? Yes, there's a 1-week free trial in our chart room. And you can take advantage of that if you want to before you subscribe or whatever. Cheryl?
I'm sorry, on the question where do you send signals all day long, if you're running the broadcast, the chart room broadcast, we are broadcasting live signals on 2 instruments every day, all day long.
And if you have the software resident on your computer, you can run live signals 24 hours a day. I mean, if you want to trade the euro at 3 a.m. Eastern time, and you're in a region where that's convenient for you to do so, you can do that because you'll have this software resident on your computer. So I'm sure we probably missed some questions. We need to wrap it up, however. So with that, Juanita, I'm going to turn it back to you. Again, if you've got any questions at all of Cheryl or I, you know how to contact us, and we'd be happy to speak with you by email or live. Juanita?
Thank you both, Ken and Cheryl. It's been a pleasure to have you both in your room. And I just want to give you a special thank you to Ken and Cheryl of Masterline Traders for this great presentation today. NinjaTrader Ecosystem is pleased to sponsor these weekly events as a value-added service for our clients. If you find value in these events, we hope you do attend them on a regular basis. We would like to remind you the information provided in this was that of Masterline Traders and not of NinjaTraders. All information was for educational purposes and should not be considered as trading advice. For those of you who are interested in joining events in the future, I'm going to go ahead and put our training webinar schedule in the room. I've also included the contact information for both Ken and Cheryl, as well as the main contact that they do have, the main email address that they do have with their phone number. Again, we do appreciate the time that you spend with us. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone, and we hope to see you in future webinars. Happy trading from all of us here at NinjaTrader. Have a great day.